ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in, Hoist the Colors, Tuesday, August 26th edition of the program. We are 2 days away from kickoff East Carolina and North Carolina State. 7 o'clock on Thursday night inside Carter-Finley Stadium. We are almost there. We're live for today's program on YouTube, Facebook, and X. As always, the comments section is open. If you have a question, comment, or concern, drop it there. We'll get to it over the course of the next hour. You can always download the show podcast form on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Download the IBX Media app. You can hear this show, the Patrick Johnson Show, Talk of the Town. Also, you can hear shows like last night's Inside Pirate Athletics with Blake Harrell from Tiebreaker. So excited about today's program. Later in the show, we're going to talk to James Gillio, Hoist the Colors intern. You guys probably have heard him on this show before. Also, he is the son of Joe Giglio, who used to cover NC State, so we'll talk about that family rivalry a little bit, as James is a student at ECU. He was at the bowl game last year. He'll be at Thursday night's game as well. We are also going to continue on our conference previews. We've got the Sun Belt Conference to preview and predict. ECU plays a Sun Belt team this year, Coastal Carolina. We'll take a look at them and the rest of the league as well. All right, and I'm also going to give you my keys and ECU's formula to victory over NC State. We'll do that here shortly. Philip Pilkington, he is producing today's show, and he's also coming up with our outline for Thursday's pregame show, which again will air 4 to 6 p.m. on this very station, 94.3 The Game. We will, by the way, we will not have a stream video-wise for that game, but you will be able to hear it and stream it on 943thegame.com for audio purposes. Philip, how's it going?
It's going good, Igo. I'm excited, man. What are we, 48 hours plus 7, so 55 hours away till kickoff? Let's go, baby.
We are slowly but surely and quickly closing in. Brady Thomas is in the chat. He says, the fellas, what's going on, Brady? Cameron says, weather is going to be perfect Thursday night. Can't remember a week 1 game where we have had decent weather recently. I feel like last year's Norfolk State game was pretty nice, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that
maybe it was hot.
It was humid. It rained pretty good the night before.
Okay.
And it was just all that water was evaporating during the tailgate. But once the game kicked off, I thought the humidity actually continued to set in. It kind of cooled it off once the sun set. So, yeah, I guess it was good and bad.
All right, we'll get into we should add a weather report to our pregame show as well. Maybe we can do that.
Oh, my goodness. We got to call Joey. Have you heard Joey Weather?
That's right, yeah. We got
his weather reports, they're hilarious.
He's not just Joey Football, he's Joey Weather. So we'll have to add that to our pregame.
We'll make Dom call him while he's driving home in 5 o'clock rush hour traffic, and he's all ticked off.
He can give us a really, really emotional weather report. I don't know if you saw this tweet, Philip. I guess we still call posts on X tweets, or do we call them posts? I don't know. Anyways, Kyle Zorn, he tweeted out last night the top 5 college football get-in ticket prices for week 1. Have you seen this post?
I have not. So I get to guess the top 5.
Yeah, let's see if you can do it. All right, so college football week 1, there's 5 games up here. Let's see if you can name a couple.
Well, the Ohio State game in
Ohio
Texas
State, Texas is number 1, $351 to get a ticket.
Okay. The Clemson LSU game is probably number 2.
That is number 2, $296.
I want to say ECU State's like number 4.
ECU and NC State is number 5. $156 to get into the building.
I'm going to go TCU and Carolina at 3.
That is not on the list. So
wow.
It's a harder ticket to get ECU, NC State than see Bill Belichick's debut at North Carolina.
What's the Sunday afternoon game? There's a Sunday game at 3 o'clock.
You've got Notre Dame and Miami. Is that the Monday game? Or is that a Sunday game? That's
a Sunday game. TCU, Carolina's the Monday game. So Notre Dame, Miami, are they number 3?
That's number 3, $217. And then
I sound crazy. 4. Is it a South Carolina game?
VT South, due to the seats, the number of seats is easier.
Yeah.
Bama, FSU,
Oh, I forgot they're playing in Tallahassee. Yeah, I forgot about that game.
But it just goes to show, man, like I tweeted it, these games matter. And people can say what they want to say about, is there anything for NC State to gain in a game like this or whatnot, or, should ECU try to schedule a game they can more easily win on paper? Obviously, they just beat NC State the bowl game, but they're sizable underdogs as of now. But, these games should be played, and this is proof. I mean, ECU, NC State is right behind Alabama and Florida State for ticket price to get in. If that doesn't tell you all you need to know, then, what are we doing?
And you know what's the difference in the East Carolina game and all those other games you mentioned?
What?
Ours is on a Thursday.
That is true.
And everything else you said is on a Saturday or a Sunday.
Good point. If it was Saturday, it'd be even higher.
Yeah.
So it goes to show, I mean, these games, and it may not matter that much nationally, but for the region, for the state of North Carolina, for the surrounding states, these games are huge. And I think Thursday night, with it being a Thursday night game, obviously it's on ACC Network instead of ESPN, which is a bit of a shame. But if it's a close game, I expect a lot of people to tune in. John Moody's in the chat. He says, how was the media food spread at NC State?
We going to find out.
We're going to find out, John. We'll be doing the pregame show live from the press box. So we'll have to add that to the list. Pregame food report. If they're serving that early.
Well, we probably won't get it until after. This might be a Friday morning or Friday afternoon topic on the show. We'll give you a quick brief of how our experience was and how well we were treated before we get into the analysis of the game. So we'll set aside 2 minutes of the show on Friday for that.
And we'll figure it out, but we'll let you know, John. Typically, it is served about an hour and a half before the game. I would expect it to be pretty good. I think there'll be a heavy contingent of media on hand. All right, ECU and NC State. The Pirates just topped the Wolfpack in the Military Bowl months ago, 26-21. They won that game by outgaining the Wolfpack 473 to 428. ECU ran for a remarkable 326 yards. Now, if you'll remember correctly, it was a sloppy night. Speaking of weather, it was ugly, it was rainy, it was cold, it was not conducive to passing the football. Caden Hauser only threw for 147 yards that day. ECU went 12 of 16 on third down, which is a remarkable conversion rate. NC State had the time of possession 33-23, but the Pirates won the game with the Rajay Harris late touchdown run. So what is the formula to win this Thursday? How can ECU make it 2 in a row? I've got my top 5 keys to beating NC State. Now, not all of these technically have to go right, but I would say you need to at least win 3 of these 4 categories, or at least hit 3 of these 4 categories. If you hit all 5, I'm not going to 100% guarantee a win, but your win success rate is probably in the 90th percentile. Number 1 on my 5 keys to beating NC State, and this is, look, it's a given, it's obvious, but it is the most important. Win the turnover battle. Now, Phillip, in the bowl game, ECU lost the turnover battle 2-1, but still managed to win the game. So it's not the end of the world, but I would say this time you're on the road. I think most of us would agree NC State probably player for player has a bit more talent. You're not going to continue to lose the turnover battle against an opponent like this and win the game. So for me, I think ECU's definitely got to win the turnover battle, maybe even by multiple turnovers, depending on some of these other factors. But goes without saying, turnover battle, Pirates can't afford to lose this one.
I agree with you. And the only way that you can counter this and lose and stand a chance to win this football game is if you win the sudden change battle, right? So, hey, maybe you turn the ball over on the minus 35. Now they're starting on the plus 35. Well, you drive them back and still force a punt. If you do things like that, yeah, maybe you can find a way to overcome this, but it's very, very tough to lose the turnover battle and win the sudden change battle. 9 times out of 10, those things are going to go together, but that is kind of the one counter formula here. However, like I said, I don't see it happening that way, so I think you are 100% now on the head there to win the turnover battle.
All right, East Carolina's second key to victory in my formula. It has to do with the rushing attack. Now, we just talked about it. 326 rushing yards, excuse me. That is like a triple option rushing attack total. I like that's unrealistic. You can't expect to run for 326 yards. Now, ECU under Blake Carroll, when they went 5-1 down the stretch last year, they rushed for more than 200 yards in each of those 5 wins. I'm not going to set the total at 200. I think that's even a tick high. You look at the one loss ECU had 131 against Navy in that game where they lost 34-20. I'm setting it at 180. If ECU rushes for 180 yards, I think that means an extremely balanced day offensively. It's not quite to that 200-yard mark, but if you're rushing for 180, you're getting all three backs involved, probably Marlon Gunn, London Montgomery, Parker Jenkins. Don't know if Mike Wright's going to get any carries, but he could be involved. Caton Hauser, is he going to use his legs? I would expect NC State's going to be a little bit more aware, Phillip, about Caton Hauser's legs in this one. Maybe that opens up a few more rushing lanes for the back. So, again, I don't think you have to dominate on the ground like you did in the bowl game, but if you get 180 with this offense and these receivers, I think you're sitting very pretty offensively.
You should be, because you're going to be able to exploit their young defensive backs. You're going to throw the football to a certain level of success. So like you said, if you can bring in that balance, rush for 180 yards, you feel good. But I want to go back to the first thing you said, and that was win the rushing, run for more yards than NC State. So if you're running for 180 yards and you win the rushing battle, yes, Hollywood Smothers still can have a good day, but he has not had an immaculate performance. And that's going to be the key to winning that rushing battle, is limiting Hollywood Smothers. Again, that doesn't mean we want to go out there and win it 50-45. You want to have balance in your offense as well. But if you're going to win that, you're going to have to stop a darn good tailback.
Number 3 is another one that's kind of a given, but we hear ECU under this staff specifically talk about it all the time. You have to win the explosive plays battle, or at least come out even. And last year, NC State got ECU in a couple of explosive plays, but who had the final big explosive play? Rajay Harris, the 80-plus yard touchdown run. A lot of that accounted for the rushing total that I just talked about. 326 yards, 86 of that came on Rajay Harris's carry. And that's why I don't want to see ECU discouraged if they're not running the ball super effectively early in the game. I can't remember how many times, but it felt like almost every game down the stretch, they'd run for, 3-4 yards early in the game, and then the second half comes, the tempo is wearing on the opponent, and now all of a sudden you're popping off 10 to 15-yard runs pretty regularly. So win the explosive plays, and this goes both ways. ECU is an explosive play offense to a large degree. NC State has a ton of explosive ability on its side of the ball. So I want to see ECU have more explosive plays in the Wolfpack. We know Smothers can go for the big plays. We know Noah Rogers, Wesley Grimes at receiver can go for big plays. Bailey can hit Justin Jolie for the big play, his big tight end. So got to win the explosive play battle is number 3. Number 4, and this may be the most critical for me, but I have it as number 4, don't lose the game in the first half. What I mean by that is NC State, all they've heard all offseason is about losing to ECU and wanting revenge, all that good stuff. Well, they're going to come out with their head on fire. And if they come out and they score on the first series of the game, or if they, get a 3-and-out, go score, ECU can't let things just unravel there. If you get down by a touchdown, so what? But you can't just lose your head early in the game. They've got 2 new coordinators. It's going to take some time to figure them out. I could see a scenario, although obviously it wouldn't be ideal. I could see a scenario ECU gets off to a slower start, and I think that's okay, Phillip, as long as they just don't let it, obviously pile up and just lead to mistake after mistake. So don't lose the game in the first half. If you're in the game at halftime, I think you start to get NC State sweating.
Hey, there's never been a football game won in the first half. There's been a hell of a lot of football games lost in the first half. So, yeah, I mean, that's definitely more critical than the turnover battle or anything else you've said. Because, again, once you've lost, once you're out of it, you're out of it.
All right, and this may be the most difficult, but number 5, my 5th key, my 5th winning formula to NC State ECU. Make all your kicks. Make all your kicks. And what I mean by this is not necessarily making like a 55-yarder to go up 10-7 in the first quarter. I'm talking about all the kicks that are 40 yards and in, all your extra points. If it comes down to a game winner, obviously you got to make it. We've seen kicks in this series, most recently, impact East Carolina in 2022. Makeable kick is no good and costs you the game. So make all your kicks.
I'm gonna build off that. Another kick that you should always make successful is a punt. And when you talk about making kicks, don't shank any punts out of bounds that then turn what was a punt into a turnover. Because if you only punt the ball 15 yards, that's the same as throwing an interception 15 yards down the field. And that would it wasn't going to show up in the turnover category, but it effectively is a turnover. Therefore, I'm going to group those two together with make all your kicks. Punts count as kicks.
There you go. Your 5 keys to a winning formula. Win the turnover battle for ECU, rush for 180 yards, win the explosive plays, don't lose the game in the first half, make all your kicks, and that includes punts. That means also don't get any kicks blocked, including punts. And just don't allow a kickoff return for touchdown either. All right, so there's your 5 keys. We'll expand upon that more. We're getting comments, Philip, that our video and audio is not synced on YouTube. So I guess we'll try to look into that during the break. I don't know what's causing that. We'll try to look into that and see what we can do. On the other side, we will get to any more of your comments. Also, we got our Sunbelt preview. James Gillio will join us later in the show as well to talk ECU NC State. We'll be right back.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed, meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Allen, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Oh, hey, welcome back. You got here just in time. This is Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in. Hoist the Colors here on a Tuesday, 2 days out from kickoff, East Carolina and NC State. We are rolling along with our game preview. We'll talk to James Gillio here in a little bit. We'll get to our Sunbelt Conference preview in a minute as we continue to talk all the FBS conferences. Robert says ECU's high-tempo offense could be a big advantage against NC State's new defensive coordinator and secondary. I agree to an extent, Robert. I do think NC State's going to be familiar with it. They've practiced it all offseason. I will say, we know JDB can draw up and script an opening series. I do wonder how that's going to go with some of the unknown with NC State's new DC. So it wouldn't surprise me if JDB has some things in the bag, and then if we get a few series into the game, once he figures out really what they're doing, it wouldn't surprise me if he goes into that bag and you see some explosive plays there. But it'll be interesting to see the start of this game. All right, Sun Belt preview. This is the league that I don't want to say a lot of ECU fans, some ECU fans would rather see ECU in the Sun Belt if it was just the matchups and not the financials. And I get it. We talked about it. More regional games. The Sun Belt, for those not paying attention, is the only conference that still has divisions. In the East, you have James Madison, Georgia Southern, Old Dominion, App State, Coastal Carolina, Georgia State, and Marshall. In the West, you have Louisiana, Texas State, Southern Miss, South Alabama, Troy, Arkansas State, and UL Monroe. Some storylines here. Last year, you had the crazy situation with Charles Huff at Marshall. He wins a conference championship, but his contract was not renewed. He's now the head coach at Southern Miss. So that is worth watching this year. App State, new coach, obviously firing Sean Clark. How does Dwayne Loggins do, taking over that program? Old Dominion, can they get over the hump under Ricky Ronnie? They've been solid, but they play really tough schedules. James Madison is kind of seen as the favorite here. Louisiana was in the championship last year. They got crushed by Marshall, and they got crushed in the bowl game by TCU. Texas State under G.J. Kinney, prime offensive mind, but they're replacing a lot. Will they be good once again? Then you got some teams like South Alabama, Troy, that are usually solid. Georgia Southern picked to be pretty good. So Sun Belt, I think, look, it's the Fun Belt for a reason, Philip. I think for the most part, this is a pretty competitive and fun league. And when I do have the time to watch the Sun Belt, I do enjoy watching some of these games.
I do too. I haven't hated this Tuesday night, Wednesday night Sun Belt that we get a little bit before, MAC. Now, there's some Tuesday night, Wednesday night CUSA in there as well, but I know there's some big games for them on Tuesdays, and yet these teams always kind of seem to play an old school brand of football. They usually can run the ball pretty well. They do get it out in space, but overall it seems like quality football. Yeah, it's not maybe to the level of some of the other teams, but it's pure and it's entertaining, and the fans care. This is part of the reason East Carolina fans want to be in this conference, or at least want to have some of these foes. I mean, Southern Miss and Marshall and places like that, like they have fan bases. Even some of those schools we don't hear about a lot, South Alabama and Louisiana Lafayette. I guess I dropped the Lafayette this year, but they care, right? And usually there's the more fun teams to watch in bowl games as well.
So Sun Belts, we have one more preview of this. It'll be the MAC. I did want to add, by the way, I know we had some people talking about the sound in the video not synced. We checked it during the break. It does seem a tick off maybe. Try refreshing your browser, but I think if it's way off, we're getting it just a tick off. So I don't know if it's a YouTube issue or what, but we're looking into it. All right, let's get into these picks. Sun Belt. Last place is our first category, and you could go a few different directions here. The bottom of the conference seems a little bit all over the place. Who you got for last place in the Sun Belt?
I'm going to go UL Monroe. And the biggest reason, I think they're the worst team in the West. And I think the West is a little tougher than the East. I think regardless of who you are in the East, you might be able to squander a game here or there against the middle of the pack. I think the West is just in and through a better league or a better division. And I think UL Monroe will struggle.
All right. This may be controversial, but let's do it. Appalachian State. Look, do I really think, like, if I had to place money on a bet that App State's going to finish dead last in the Sun Belt, I wouldn't do it. But I've just heard their camp's a little all over the place. I don't know if they made the right hire. Time will tell. It just feels a little off. And, I mean, this schedule is challenging, although, I could definitely see a 3-0 start, but I could see a scenario where it unravels quickly. They open with Charlotte in Bank of America. I mean, I guess App's favored. I haven't even looked at the line, but it would not shock me if Charlotte wins that game. App's quarterback is A.J. Swan, who is just pretty mediocre at Vanderbilt, and he barely played at Iowa State. So I just don't know what their quarterback situation is after losing Aguilar. They do play Lindenwood week 2. Then they go to Southern Miss, where Charles Huff is now. They get a bye week, and they go to Boise State. I mean, if they're not careful, you could be 2-2, 1-3 here. Then they play Oregon State at home, at Georgia State. They have to go to Old Dominion. They have to go to James Madison. I mean, it's not an easy schedule. I'm just going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say App State is due for some down years, and it starts now.
They're favored by a touchdown in that first game.
Okay. So, hey, I'm going out on a limb, but here we are. Let's have some fun. And, look, I don't want App State to be bad.
Yeah,
I just feel like these things go in cycles, and it's been a while since App State has, like, just had some lean years. Maybe this is the time. And it feels, that you fire an alum and Sean Clark, an App State guy. We've seen that backfire in some cases, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the Mountaineers program. All right, next category, dark horse title contender. Who you got?
I am going to go with Arkansas State. They avoid James Madison. They do get Louisiana, Georgia Southern, and Texas State, or the other teams kind of picked at the top of the conference. So they get all of those teams at home. They're returning a good amount of starters from last year, including their quarterback, Jalen Rayner. Rayner will actually be a third-year starter as a true junior. When he started as a true freshman, got first-team all freshman, and he was the first true freshman quarterback to earn those honors since 2007 in the conference. They also only starting 2 underclassmen on the defensive side of the ball, both of which are true sophomores that appeared in 9 games as freshmen. So I just think there's a lot of continuity right now with Arkansas State, and they're getting all the tough opponents at home.
You're really going to trust Butch Jones?
I'm trusting Butch Jones.
I'll be honest, I looked at Arkansas State, and then I saw that Butch Jones is their coach, and I'm like, I'm good. All right, I'm going to go with Southern Miss. And look, Charles Huff, he goes to Southern Miss. He's a great coach. He just won a conference title. Well, how do you maybe do that at another place? You take all your players, and that's basically what he did from Marshall to Southern Miss. He took quarterback Braylon Braxton. He took several pieces along with that. Southern Miss, interesting schedule. They get Mississippi State at home. Then they play Jackson State, and they play App State. They open with 3 home games. 4 of their first 5 are at home, have a chance to get off to a good start, build confidence for a program coming off a 1-win season. Golden Eagles, man, you want to talk about a fan base that used to be, and they may still be, but they don't play ECU anymore, so I have not followed them as closely. Used to be passionate down at the Rock in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Would love to see them get back to having some success. So I'm pulling for Southern Miss. They are my dark horse title contender in the Sun Belt. By the way, Ryan adding on YouTube that, the App State running back Kanye Roberts just got hurt. So he said torn ACL. So another reason why App State could be in a bit of trouble this year. All right, conference MVP. Who do you got from the Sun Belt? Who's your most valuable player?
I'm going to go with the new Texas State quarterback, Nate Yarnell. He was at Pitt last year when Pitt had a pretty solid season, and I think he can take what is already a pretty good Texas State team, bring them to the next level.
Good pick. G.J. Kinney's going to have some good offensive numbers, no matter who his quarterback is. I'm going to go with Alonzo Barnett from James Madison. I mean, it's kind of the obvious pick, but returning starter for the preseason favorite. You look at last year, phenomenal numbers, 26 touchdowns against 4 interceptions, can run the ball a decent amount as well, just a solid player. 7 touchdowns on the ground as well, so I'm going to go with Alonzo Barnett from James Madison as my conference MVP. What is your championship game? Again, divisions here, East versus West.
Are we doing game of the year?
Oh, my bad. Best conference game.
I'm going to have my MV playing against yours on Saturday, October 28th, Texas State JMU.
Well, Philip, that is the same as that game that I have, but you need to correct yourself, sir, because that is a Tuesday.
That is a Tuesday. That's right. Yeah. See, I know there were good. I told you guys there were good Tuesday games on in this conference.
Tuesday, October 28th, James Madison at Texas State. That'll be a fun one, man. Sneaky good game as well. Georgia Southern at Arkansas State on October 25th. Georgia Southern seems a team that could make it this year. J.C. French, their quarterback. You mentioned Arkansas State with Rayner returning at quarterback. He's been a guy some teams have been trying to get in the portal. So that's a sneaky good game I wrote down as well. All right, championship game.
I got those two facing off against each other again. I know Texas State's not the favorite in the West, but I think they find a way to do it. I think they find a way to be better than Louisiana, even though they play Louisiana on the road.
Yeah, I have I have James Madison versus Texas State as well. I was tempted to go to Louisiana until I looked at their team a little bit deeper. It didn't finish last year super strong. Just an okay returning cast. So I'm going to go with Texas State coming out of the West. Who's your champion?
JMU.
JMU winning it. And you know what? I have JMU written down, but I'm going to change it right now to the Bobcats just to be different.
There you go.
Just so we didn't go.
We didn't have each of our last 4 picks the same or 3 picks.
And look, I know James Madison's been really good, and they've got a lot of returning starters, but I'm not going to believe that they're the overwhelming favorite in the Sun Belt. I'm just going to go on a limb, and I'll take the field, and that includes Texas State. It does not include App State, as I said earlier. That's my last place team in the Sun Belt. But Sun Belt should be interesting this year. The Fun Belt, there is your Sun Belt preview. We just have the MAC. We'll also get to some independents tomorrow. We'll mention Notre Dame, even though everybody is tired of hearing about them just because it's Notre Dame. We'll also talk UConn. And who else is there? UMass? Or is UMass in the MAC now?
No, UMass is independent, I think, and then Oregon State, Washington State.
Okay.
We can breeze through those. But I do kind of want to talk about the Jim Mora at UConn and how they had an actual decent year last year.
They have come a long way since they left the Americans. So we'll touch on the independents in the MAC tomorrow before we get into full-on hour-long game preview on Thursday for ECU and NC State. All right, we got to get a break in. We got James Gillio, Hoist the Colors intern, joining us on the other side. We'll catch up with him, see how his summer's gone, talk about ECU, NC State, and more. This is Hoist the Colors.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
For over 51 years, Parker's Barbecue has brought families together with our award-winning whole hog barbecue and fried chicken. Tradition is important at Parker's Barbecue, and for 3 generations, the Parker's Way has stood the test of time. Whether you visit our dining rooms or drive-thrus, use our on-site catering, or even use our nationwide shipping, the hospitality, barbecue, fried chicken, homemade sides are still the same.
We are the Parker family. Come in and let our family show you. This is the Parker's Way.
Remember, get the podcast of the show on the IBX Media app or where you get your podcasts.
Got it. You don't have to tell me twice. I remember it exactly.
Stephen Igo and Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome in. Hoist the Colors, third segment here, Tuesday, August 26th. We just ran through our Sun Belt preview. as we continue our FBS conference previews. Got one more to do, the MAC. We'll also hit Independence tomorrow as well. Let's get back into ECU and NC State. Philip Hilkinen producing. We also have got our guy, James Gillio from Hoist the Colors. He's back. James, how's your summer been, man?
It's been great. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
We got you.
Okay, great. It wasn't picking up on my thing. Yeah, it's been good. Picked up a job over at Bass Pro near my house. Kind of slaved away over there all summer, but definitely glad to be back in Greenville and getting ready to roll into some football on Thursday. So that'll be interesting, and fun.
Getting back on the ECU beat. So obviously your father, Joe Giglio, people know him for having covered a lot of times with NC State. Obviously has the OG show with Joe Ovius, which a lot of people are a fan of. What's the ECU NC State matchup like in the Giglio household this time of year?
I mean, it's happening 2 games in a row technically, so it's a lot of interesting fun. It's not really with me and my father. My dad, he couldn't really care less about the team, I feel like. But my friends that go to state, I have a lot of them from my hometown that, we'll go, back and forth. It's a nice little rivalry. So I'm excited to see them Thursday. And I'm excited for the game Thursday, but it's also fun with my family because, they have season tickets to NC State. So, I'll see my brother and my parents. So it'll definitely be a fun game. A lot different than the bowl game.
Yeah, so I will be covering the game from the press box. Peyton Brady will be with us in the press box as well. You're going as a fan, right, James?
Yes, I'm going as a fan. My mom got me a ticket. I'm super excited.
Well, excited to see what that atmosphere is like. So I do have to say, your dad tweeted. Let me see if I can find the exact tweet. Yeah, okay. He says the ECU State line has moved 3 points today. Something's wrong in Greenville. So for those who haven't been following, ECU and NC State, it opened around, I want to say 13-14. Then it moved, and this was like way back in the summer. Then it moved heavily in ECU's direction, 10-11. And now yesterday it went from like 11 to NC State by 14. So you think Joe is on to something there, or are you buying the conspiracy theory, or is this just like what is causing this line move?
I don't know. I was actually going to ask you guys why you thought the line moved, but I am curious why it dropped 3 points. It is random for that to happen in a day. My initial assumption was that maybe something happened, maybe an injury, but I didn't see anything injury-wise. And I guess the other thing I could think of is heavy betting for State to open the week since it is game week now. And I guess bettors in Vegas will be paying more attention to the game now that it is game week. But I'm not buying into his conspiracies. I don't know if he knows what he's talking about there. But I think 3 points is kind of crazy, though.
I don't know, Philip. You got any conspiracy theories on this?
No, I think it's what James hit the nail on the head when he said that the national bettors are now looking at the week 1 lines now that week 0 is over, and they said, oh, there's a Power 4 team, not favored by a full 2 touchdowns against a Group of 5 team. They're going to win by 2 touchdowns. Let me put all my money on City State. I think that's really what happened. Whereas over the summer, all the Pirate fans were going, 14 points, we can cover that, and that's the reason the line moved to begin with, is because all the ECU fans put all their bets, back in July.
Yeah, look, I was at practice yesterday. I can confirm that there's nothing I saw out of the ordinary as far as like a major injury or anything. I mean, Caden Hauser was practicing. We talked to him after practice. Like, there's nothing that I saw that led me to believe there's something wrong. I will say, from Joe's point of view, typically when a line moves like that, there is something up. But I do think with it being week 1 and with it being a Thursday night game, when your average fan logs into your betting site, what's one of the first games you're going to see? ECU, NC State. Because it's a Thursday game. It's a pretty early kickoff for a Thursday game, 7 o'clock. And they're saying, like Philip said, it's NC State. If you want to go a little deeper, they have the revenge factor. They just lost ECU. They're at home. There's a lot of things that would lead one to say, all right, NC State's going to blow them out in this revenge game. But I don't know. I'm not one. I will say I kind of am one for conspiracy theories, but in this case, I'm not. So I think this is just more of the line movement. I don't know. What's your gut feeling as we sit here 2 days from kickoff, James, on ECU's chances going into this thing? Do you buy that State is going to win by that much? Where's your gut feeling?
My gut feeling tells me that ECU is going to win. I don't know what it is or my gut feeling. It's just not like, to me, it's not biased for some reason. When I've watched NC State over the years, especially in the last 3 to 4 years, they've struggled in week one openers. You saw it last year with Western Carolina at home. They were favored by a lot, and they barely won. They were actually losing, I think, going into the fourth quarter. Previous year, they were losing at UConn. So two teams that are not as good. I think ECU is better than. And yeah, it's a different year. And you can also say ECU is not great in week one games. But based on what I've seen from NC State in the past in week one games, I think ECU is going to be juiced up for this game. I hate saying it's a Super Bowl, but I mean, I guess you can kind of say it is. Like, there's going to be a lot of ECU fans there. I predicted 34-28 ECU. I think it's going to be a sloppy but fun and high-powered offensive game. 2 days away, that prediction's not changing. So I'm sticking 34-28 ECU. Got some flack on it yesterday on Twitter, but
You did. We were talking about that pre-show.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, we'll get into the burner verse here in a minute. But, yeah, official score prediction from James Gillio, 16 on X. You can follow him. East Carolina 34, NC State 28. Your tweet or your posts, whatever we term it now, has 13.7 thousand views. James,
really?
Yeah, I guess that categorizes as going viral. But you,
my 125, yeah.
you got quite a bit of response from NC State fans. So I don't know if you're making some enemies here, but welcome to being in the media, man.
Yeah, I love it. I love engagement. And I just love starting the dialogue. So anything to start a dialogue. I mean, NC State fans have been saying, I've been seeing a lot of 38-20. I've been seeing a lot of 42-17. I've been seeing a lot of those. I feel like it's not going to be that wide of a margin. I feel like if NC State is going to win, I think it'll be like 2 touchdowns max.
Yeah, as of now, I have 38-28 NC State, but nothing would surprise me. I mean,
Dang, that's what I said to somebody last night.
Really? I really think the closer – I'm going to pick NC State to win the game. I do think the closer we get to kickoff, though, I have a gut feeling ECU is going to play really well, and I really want to pick ECU to win. But I'm trying to see both sides. Like, this is a must-win game for NC State. You know, you mentioned Super Bowl, James. Like, if Doran loses this, I mean, he is. I'm not gonna say he's done because it's the season opener, but he is as close to being done. The fan base will be done, and he'll have to really rally.
Mm-hmm.
So, I will say too, this is typically when Dave Doran is at his best with NC State. When they are doubted, they are better than when they get praised. So It seems like every time he's on the hot seat, he pulls off a 3, 4, 5 game winning streak. So that part of me is why I'm picking NC State, along with some unknown with the coordinators, which I think advantages them early in the game. But, I mean, if they lose this thing, man, I mean, you know, obviously being in the Garner, Raleigh area, like, could get in some hot water there quickly.
Yeah. I mean, we saw it with basketball. I mean, Kevin Keats last year went to the Final Four, 2 years ago now, went to the Final Four. Next year he misses the ACC tournament. He's ran out of town. And they upgraded that coach, I'd say, with Will Wade, and you see how they're doing. Now they're all excited about basketball season. So I think that'd be kind of a similar situation with football. If they lose this game, I think Dave Doran, I mean, unless they rattle off and go 11-1, I mean, they have a pretty difficult schedule. I know they have Miami. I know they have Notre Dame. And they finished with UNC, but UNC, I don't know. They're a big question mark. But yeah, the state fans will definitely be kind of at their boiling point, I think. And if they not already are, with Dave Doran if they lose this game.
Real quick, I just want to bring up something. Igo, you said that you're getting more and more confident the closer we get to game time. Is it me, or did this happen to us in the bowl game too?
It did. I remember when the bowl was first announced, I was like, ECU, they have players opting out. Sakai Barker was opting out. Isaiah Brown Murray. Like, they were down a bunch of defensive players. And I was like, this just isn't going to go well. And then, like, as we got closer, I was just like, you know what? ECU's got nothing to lose. This is a situation where they're going to go out there, play with their hair on fire, and win. And, like, I don't know. I feel like the pressure is really on NC State. You know, the betting line is moving in their direction, which, again, like, it just adds to ECU's fuel and also the pressure on State to not only win, but to conceivably, like, going in, they're a big favorite. I just think all of this leads to ECU, again, being able to play the underdog card. And the other factor is, too, and I wrote this in my season game-by-game predictions, typically the ECU teams that win these type of games have a certain attitude about them. And, you know, some of the words I can't say on the air, but like Blake Harrell and Caton Hauser, they just kind of have like that attitude to them, that confidence that like leads me to believe this could be the next iteration of ECU football where they go into these types of games, as we saw in the bowl game, and just find ways to win. Because, Caden has a little bit of swag to him. He's competitive as crap. And I think now that he's got his confidence, I could really see him taking a step again this season, starting with this game. So, I don't know. Are either y'all getting the same vibe from just listening to Blake or Caden talk?
I get a similar vibe. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Another thing that kind of tells to me is, I mean, they have a difficult non-conference schedule. BYU, road game at Coastal, you don't really know how they're going to play, and including the state game. So, I mean, you really want to kind of get on these opportunities early. And I think if they can get this win, they'll feel a lot better going into the rest of their non-conference schedule. I mean, and like you said, all the pressure's on NC State. High line, coach potentially on the hot seat. So, I mean, if they can get an early win here, I think they could feel a lot more confident going into the rest of the season. And even if they lose this game, it's not the end of the world. I mean, again, end of the day, it is on the road, Power 4 environment, and it's a night game. So it's going to be on primetime too, I think. ESPN? Or maybe?
Sadly, just ACC Network.
ACC Network.
Does that even count as primetime when you're on ACC Network?
I don't know. I mean, there's only 14 games or something being played in the country all around. The tough thing is ESPN's got games, but ESPN2's got the U.S. Open. So you're kind of down a channel than what you would normally be with tennis on. So
have you noticed, Philip, that like talking to Caden, he seems like a little bit of a different guy, just confidence-wise this offseason?
He seems more confident, but he seems more relaxed too. Yeah. I just felt like at this time a year ago, like he couldn't focus on what he was saying because he was too focused on everything else, and rightfully so. And I feel like, he's been open. He was open about it yesterday. We talked to him that this offseason is different because he's not constantly looking over his shoulder. And I think we're getting to know the real Caden Hauser. You and I met him when he first got to Greenville in spring of 24, and he seems now like he did then.
Yeah.
But then, once everything happened last year, I mean, you can't blame him for being the way he was, right? I mean, he had one thing to focus on. Now I feel like he could sit back and be Caden Hauser, the human being, as well as Caden Hauser, the competitor, whereas last year he was just Caden Hauser, the competitor.
All right, Kenny Curlin's in the chat. He says we have to protect the ball, no turnovers, and force some takeaways. He says the Pirates have cost NC State coaches their jobs in the past. Yeah, I remember being in Carter, Finley. I think it was 06 or 07 when the ECU beat NC State in the finale. Andre Allison threw up the Wolfpack to the fans as he scored a touchdown right before half. So it has happened before in Raleigh. All right, we got to get our final break in. We'll come back. We'll continue on with James Gillio after this.
Turn your car into cash at Greenville Toyota. Cash in your trade-in today. Then get new Camry just $249 a month. Or drive a new RAV4, $319 a month. At Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, Newbern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Cash in your trade-in at Greenville Toyota. Get a huge offer when you trade. Then save big on a brand new Corolla, just $229 a month. Or get a Tacoma, just $319 a month. Secure your Toyota now at Greenville Toyota.
We're live with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Hoist the Johnny Roger!
Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors. Final segment here. And we are back here to break it all down. A little bit of breaking news from NC State. We were talking about this. I can't remember if it was off or on the air earlier, but we'll talk about it on the air now. James Gillio with us as well, Hoist the Colors intern, and Philip Pilkington. So NC State has announced, head coach Dave Doran, that they will be without backup guard Val Erickson and defensive lineman Brandon Cleveland, who is their starting nose guard, for the first half against ECU due to the ejections at the end of the Military Bowl. This is according to Dave Doran. Now, ECU will be without Jason Tarpe, their backup tackle, for the entire game, per my sources, because the American Conference policy is that if you get ejected, you have to miss the entire game, whereas the NCAA/ACC policy is you just have to miss the next half. So it's kind of stupid that you have differing rules there, and the American, again, continues to hurt itself more than help its teams. But regardless, the ejections happened. These are the punishments, but certainly significant there, James. I talked about it earlier on the show. ECU's got to be able to run the ball well to have a chance. Well, if you take arguably your best run-stopping defensive lineman out, that could be an early advantage for ECU.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that's kind of stupid that they don't get the same penalty, because it's kind of, I'm sure it's hard to differentiate what people were doing at the end of that game last year, or at least in the bowl game, to throw out punishments. But that is definitely weird and interesting that they get different punishments. But yeah, ECU running the ball is the main reason why they won the game last year. Rajay Harris had that big run. I've actually got a poster of him right here running, and that's Military Bowl right here that I got for Christmas, or later that Christmas. He had over 200 yards rushing on the ground. And so if they can run the ball effectively, they can have an easy chance to win. Again, turnovers are going to be big, keeping the ball off the ground, no fumbles. I know Caden had 2 interceptions last year. It was a weird game last year. It was rainy. I don't expect that similar game from Caden. I actually expect some touchdown passes from him, and maybe one on the ground. Again, he was a big factor last year as well with him running the ball. He had those 2 big rushing touchdowns. So again, if ECU can run the ball effective, no turnovers, and Caden can limit the interceptions, I think they can have a better chance to win, or a good chance to win.
Got a few minutes left. I just want to touch on, and I don't even want to bring up the specific stuff that's been tweeted, but I don't know, I'm just ready for this game to go ahead and happen and end and move on to the next one because of the burnerverse right now. We kind of touched on it earlier, James. Look, I get it. It's social media. Everybody wants to be funny, but some of this stuff is crossing the line, and I don't know. I just wish the fan bases would be able to have a rivalry, but keep it in check a little bit. It's just gotten out of hand, James. I know we text about this quite often, how silly some of these comments are, but it's gotten a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm sure there's been some stuff floating around. I've seen some stuff. It's not just NC State fans either. I'm sure ECU fans have posted some stuff that is kind of over the line about State, and it sucks, really. But I guess people could say it's all fun and games at the end of the day. But when you're doing stuff that could potentially hurt people's careers or livelihood, that is definitely crossing the line.
All right, about a
But
minute.
I'm all for fun Twitter beef. But
yeah, I am too. Like, I mean, if it's within the lines of reason. Final minute, James. How does ECU win this football game?
Like I said before, running the ball effectively, limiting turnovers. Pretty basic stuff here. Running the ball was very effective against NC State last year. It's going to be a different environment because this is not a neutral site game. I'm sure there's going to be a similar atmosphere with ECU fans there. I know they're going to travel. There's going to be a lot. The whole visiting section is going to be packed, and I'm expecting like little pods of purple throughout Carter Finley Stadium. But running the ball is going to be a huge thing. No turnovers is going to be big, and also capitalizing. I'm sure NC State is going to make a couple of mistakes themselves. If you can capitalize on their turnovers and their mistakes, that'll also be big. And another thing, I wanted to ask a quick question about you posted the depth chart yesterday. There was no kicker listed. I didn't know if there's any question marks at our kicker position, so that could be big.
I think ECU knows who's going to kick, but they just don't want to tell people. But I think it'll be Perez or Nick Mosley, the transfer.
Yeah, Blake was asked about it last night by Patrick on Inside Pirate Athletics, and he kind of, hit on what we hit on yesterday. I go like, here's the strengths of this guy and here's the strengths of that guy, but never really gave Patrick or the ECU Nation an answer.
All right, well, that'll do it. We're up against it as far as time, James. We're out of time, but appreciate your time on today's program. We'll get you back in studio soon, but enjoy Thursday's game, man.
All right, you guys as well.
All right, for Philip Pilkinen, for James Gillio, I am Stephen Igo. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. We'll be back Wednesday, 12 noon. We'll have Macy O'Donnell join us from the ECU Sports Network, former ECU football player as well. We'll talk to you then to continue to break down ECU and NC State.